Welcome back. I am David the Good. We are here at Petals from the Past Nursery, which is like the Disneyland of nurseries in Alabama, in Jemison, Alabama. And this is Jason, the owner, and we were just having an interesting conversation. I thought, all right, we're going to just record this. You were talking about how to make sure that your garden thrives with the climate rather than against it.
Absolutely. And you know, in our conversation, one of the things that we look for, and I'm thrilled that you share that same philosophy, is we're using our display gardens to test plants, and we don't use an irrigation system. We modify the soil a little bit with the addition of compost, but then we're able to evaluate and test not only ornamental plants like antique roses, but we're looking at perennials, we're looking at herbs, we're looking at shrubs. And we want to be able to find and select for those plants that can survive years when we have a 100-year drought like we had 7 years ago and can make it. Then we want to evaluate plants like this year. You remember, David, in December on the 23rd?
Oh yeah, 16. We got 16 degrees. I don't know what you got here,
and
but that was
that doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen where you live.
No.
And we went to 9 degrees here. And then for 4 days, we didn't get above freezing. Then we will go into mid-February, we warm up to the 70s, only to drop back down to the low 30s. And then in March, the final nail in the coffin for some plants was we went to 80 degrees the week before, and then Sunday morning to 24. So we've got our notebook and pad and pen, and we're walking around the garden and we're looking at who survived that extreme without extra protection, without extra care.
Right.
And we are getting valuable data from these plants that we can handle it.
Right, a lot of people are just scared it's gonna die. And so sometimes somebody would say, can I grow this here? Can I grow this here? Can I grow this here? And I was like, well, why don't you buy some and see if they live? And if they grow, you double down.
Exactly.
You know, so that way you've kind of got the data right out of your own backyard. So 40 acres here, and you've got U-pick, you've got the blackberries, I saw blueberries, you've got old apple varieties.
That's right.
And you've got heirloom roses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's all kinds of food plants, and of course all these ornamentals, like these delicious.
Oh yeah, the
So
native
what are
azalea.
these? These are the native.
This is the native azalea, rhododendron viscosum. They sometimes call it a swamp azalea. So from me all the way to where you live, this is along the creeks where the water rises, and they can spend some of the time with the root system underwater. And then when it dries in the summer, they're perfectly happy. But they bloom a little bit later, and that's the fragrance.
That's cool. That's cool. So you can have a follow-up season. So when your Pride of Mobile is done in February,
Exactly.
you got a couple more months to look forward to this.
That's exactly right.
So you actually find what works with the climate, and then that makes a huge difference all around. Like I was telling you when I wrote my Florida gardening book, when people moved down to Florida and they would look at the back of a seed package and say, plant after all danger of frost in March, and then they plant their cabbages and you were saying, so, you know, it's 80 degrees already. It's like, it's too late.
That's right.
It's too late. So you're actually doing the experimentation here. So if you're in the central Alabama area, South Alabama, North Alabama, this is a nice kind of in-between sandwich, and it has seen extreme temperatures here. And so the experimentation that he's doing here, whether you're putting it in a butterfly garden, food garden, native garden, he's got some of the weirdest stuff. He says instead of trying to just mass produce petunias.
Yes. Yeah. We try to grow, a wider diversity, and then put it into display gardens so that when you're visiting, we want for you to be able to see it. That way, you don't have to just trust me that that's going to perform this way. I want you to look at the garden, see how it does, keeping in mind the filters that we've talked about. What did it face last winter? What did it face last summer? What we're looking for things that we don't have to spray and don't have to pamper, that are just going to thrive and survive, regardless of, like you said, whether it's edible or whether it's ornamental or whether it's just for bringing in the pollinators.
Yeah, I feel like if you have to spray it, you probably don't need to grow it.
You don't need to grow it.
I mean, if you look at the woods, God doesn't spray the woods.
That's right.
It's like, I gotta make sure we get rid of all those bugs.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
it lives. It lives. It's supposed to live.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what we've seen over the last 29 years are some of the original plants that we began with. They've survived, even though new bugs have been introduced, new diseases have been introduced. We've seen droughts, we've seen floods, we've seen late spring freezes, we've seen hurricanes right up from you all the way here.
Oh yeah.
And we're able to go in and look at who's handled it, who's survived it. And I mean, these are getting the stars, these are getting the gold medals from our perspective. And then we propagate.
And then you propagate off of those ones that already survived. I love the philosophy of it. And of course, this is like a great place to take your wife on a date too.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We've made sure there's plenty of places to sit down. You can bring a picnic, and just breathe.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for
So
joining
good to
me.
see you. Yes, thank
All right,
you.
check out Petals from the Past Nursery in Jemison, Alabama. And until next time, your thumbs always be free.